Welcome to the 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast. I say it every episode because I think that every episode is going to be great. So let's get into some locker room talk. The first thing that I want to talk about is this week we learned that Adidas announced a name, image, and likeness network that will be accessible to every athlete at Division I universities that the company partners with. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, we're going to leave that up to Dr. Cavill to break down the specifics of it, but it is open to every single D1 program that is a Adidas school. Yada, you want to give us some background information on this impacts HBCUs, Prairie View, and the SWAC?
Certainly. Just for those that may not be aware of it, I'm sure most of you all that listen to the show are, you have the NIL, which is name, image, and likeness. And that came down and really exploded this past July when you had the NCAA and most state statutory guidelines that opened it up. So college players could get revenue off their name, image, and or likeness. So essentially this past week, Adidas on Wednesday officially announced a wide-ranging NIL program that will offer money to any eligible athletes of the 109 D1 schools sponsored by the company. Athletes will be paid for social media posts and be able to opt into an affiliate marketing program that pays them for sales that they drive at the Adidas shop. Pretty straightforward and a great opportunity. The Adidas brand announced also on that Wednesday that they were forming an NIL network that will be accessible to its 109 programs, which is essentially eligible students across the 23 D1 programs have the opportunity to become paid from that program. The last thing I think that's kind of important about this initiative, which comes after a marketing campaign they're doing called Impossible is Nothing campaign. This initiative promotes the Adidas brand's goals of creating a more equitable and exclusive future in sports. To start, athletes will have the chance to profit through commission links, but Adidas plans to also offer elevated opportunities at the brand partnership and entrepreneurial level, which was interesting to me. They haven't gone in specific details and just exactly how much money they can make, but they did say this is going to be a wide-ranging network program, which is scheduled to roll out in 4 phases, starting this fall in 2022 and throughout the next year. Also, what's important, as you would imagine, they're going to start with their Power 5 programs that are attached to it, but where it's really interesting for us is at the same time, they're going to start with the HBCUs, which include Prairie View and the other partners that are out there this fall as well. So they specifically did this, that it was important for them to note that historically Black colleges and universities, Adidas are partnered with those athletic programs whose athletes will be able to profit off their NIL again, starting this fall. Lastly, the German apparel company, Mike, you familiar in your travels in Germany, did not have how much money would be offered as part of the program, but that information I'm sure will come in the near future. But to sum it up, you'll have college athletes being able to generate name, image, and likeness, and essentially, perfunctory, their ability on their social media platform will drive how much money they can make directly through Adidas sales.
I think that's extremely exciting news to me, because when you say they're going to have a specific focus on HBCUs, which means only Adidas HBCUs, well, 2 of your bigger brands, Jackson State and FAMU, are Under Armour and Nike. So you take them off the table and you're able to, Prairie View is going to have a bigger chance, a bigger opportunity to be top billing for Adidas as an Adidas school. So it's going to be extremely important for our upper level athletes to have good seasons and get that shine, get that light put on them, and for it'll be incumbent upon Prairie View to do self-promotion. to help promote their athletes to where Adidas says, hey, we need to put a bigger spotlight on those individual athletes.
Yeah, I think the biggest deal is that there are no strings attached to it. Sometimes you see these deals and there's like strings, you can't do this, you can't do that. This doesn't prohibit athletes from participating with other deals as well, which I think is very open and objective. And I think that sweetens the pot a little bit. The other deal is, you spend time in Germany or any other European country, you realize how popular Adidas is over there. It is not only in terms of fashion, but in terms of sports as well. So I think it's an opportunity for them to really open up their brand here in the U.S. or the Americas as well.
Mm-hmm.
They also mentioned that there would be some partnerships with their professional athletes. So we've seen some of these professional athletes, particularly Adidas-based athletes that we've kind of connected and mentioned to the Prairie View A&M administration to consider reaching out. Well, they are going to make a concerted effort to link these individual institutions as well as college athletes with some of their professional, to not only talk about how they generate revenue, but how do they upstart their career and understand the brand association. So there's maybe opportunities to go in and work with or for Adidas, if you would, and from a career path beyond the name, image, and likeness, which I thought is very fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. Moving on to our Lady Panthers, our bowling team. We had such high hopes for them, but I do understand that they are not the SWAC championship champions. I believe it was the Lady Hornets of Alabama State that knocked them out. But we definitely want to give a shout out to the 2022 SWAC bowling all tournament team. We actually had two of our bowlers, Stephanie Vasquez and Asia Wren. So again, although they didn't win the tournament, kudos to those two for making that team.
And they are regular season SWAC champions.
Definitely, I would
take that.
We would be remiss if we did not mention that. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, we got a little spoiled there, but they continue to hold up the bowling lanes and do their thing.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Congrats, ladies.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't perform well. They played well against the Hornets. I think they went to 5 games. They lost the 5th game. They lost the 1st game, then picked up the next 2, and then the Hornets picked up the 4th. They lost the 5th. Then they were moved to a conciliatory bracket where they lost, I believe it was to Southern, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, they picked, the wrong time to not have their best game. And for 3-4 years of championship play, I still tip my hat off to the Lady Panthers for sure.
We know they'll be back.
Yes,
they will return.
Most definitely. So let's talk about something not necessarily related to PV. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation.
Oh yeah.
We got to speak on it.
Let me, as a woman, I want to go first on this one. I think that it's amazing to me, this woman with her credentials and how often that they interrupted her and talked over her, her work as a public defender, later as a judge, just how grossly mischaracterized and just attacked her record. And I find comfort in the tremendous amount of poise and confidence and competence that she's basically shown all week. And I think just as a Black female that I'm in the software development space, so it's predominantly male. So I'm very familiar with probably not as extreme as what she has gone through, but just having to be questioned. And it's not necessarily if she's qualified, because we all know she's qualified. So we know that the lack of respect doesn't have anything to do with her education. So the question becomes, why are you disrespecting her? And I think we all know that question. And that's a question that America continue always needs to answer. So that's That's all I have to say on it. What do you all think?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about she's qualified, right?
Yep, very much so.
How qualified is she? Well, if you take 4 of the current sitting judges,
Mm-hmm.
she's more qualified
Yes.
than 1, 2, 3, but 4 of the judges combined.
Yes.
Seriously. And so you've got to answer questions like define womanhood, really?
Exactly.
Give me Senator Lindsey Graham was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, give me where you are on religiousness. Dude, really? So what kind of questions is that for a qualified individual such as this? And then Senator Cruz, don't get me started on him. I think I was on Dr. Bill's show and I was so hot, I couldn't start the show. He was like, man, why are you surprised at that foolishness? Well, I am. I'm mad. That's some foolery on a whole different level. Really, you want a 5th grade book on racism? Really? So I'm still flabbergasted at the level of disrespect and the questioning to someone who's as qualified as Mrs. Brown.
Yep.
I got to say, after 8 years of Obama and 4 years of Trump, we should all be long past being surprised by foolishness. Foolishness is the norm now. So
well, of course,
I wasn't surprised by the foolishness at all. I think the point that I kind of want to make and walk away with is us as Black people, stop feeling the need and the desire to prove our qualifications. I'm sure y'all all saw that same chart that was going around on social media showing how she was more qualified, as you stated, Mike, than all the other justices basically combined. We ain't got to prove our worth anymore. We ain't got to prove our value for our candidacy. We all know we good. Stop feeling I wish our people would stop feeling the need to legitimize ourselves and our qualifications.
We've had that conversation. A certain generation, we still feel that need.
So stop. Let's grow out of it and move on, because it's a waste of energy. We know what this is, man. We know this ain't had nothing to do with that woman's qualifications. They know it's there that she's qualified. All those foolish comments that they made and questions that they asked, it had nothing to do with her qualifications. It was about not wanting a Black female liberal on the Supreme Court, period. And it was all about making political statements for this next cycle. So it's foolishness. We know that. I just want us to, as a people, to stop feeling the need, the requirement to legitimize our intelligence and our qualifications. Yeah. Let them say what they're gonna say and move on.
Joe Clay, I really appreciate you sharing that, because that was what I was actually trying to get out to Mike, that I really no longer have the energy to deal with that capacity.
Right.
And I'm not saying for you all that have come on here and talked about that, that's also your right. And sometimes you do need to get it off your chest, get your thoughts out. So I'm not really in framing that on you all in terms of that, because we certainly can opine it. But the point that I was trying to make is not that I didn't agree anything what you all said. I mean, anybody that has studied constitutional law for 5 minutes or just listen to people that talked about it, the religious question was ridiculous on face value that you don't even go there. So if we are intellectually enough and honest to know that, we don't do that. What I will say is I do like the collective memory of us to some extent of what Joe is talking about in the way that we celebrate each other. I think that is extremely important. And that's what I would kind of want to end on. And I want to shout out to Senator Booker in terms of his opportunity to use his platform to celebrate her.
Definitely.
And to create the ability to make her smile when she had to go through all that other nonsense. Yeah. So I'd rather kind of celebrate that component of the cultural empowerment and why it is contextually important for us to understand that we do have the ability to uplift each other.
Senator Cory Booker, yes, absolutely. Yeah. But did you see the sister look that she gave Senator Cruz?
She was cutting them eyes.
Yeah, when he pulled that book up, she's like, Senator Cruz, then she took a pause. Mm-hmm. Every Black woman probably felt that look. And what was going through her mind. I'm sorry, I had to point that out. But yeah.
No, I think for me, it was when it's because, again, I think we've all been there when you're not being disrespected, but you have to start your statement with all due respect,
Yep.
right? Whenever I start a statement like that, I'm pissed. But let me prove my point.
Take note. Hashtag take note when I start.
Hashtag.
Yeah, when I start the conversation with that, I'm upset.
Yeah, you already in trouble. You already know it's gonna go down.
Right.
And I'm finna beat you up so clean that you're not even gonna know it. I'm not gonna use one cuss word or anything, but I'm finna yo, right here.
Right. But no, I wholeheartedly agree, Joe, with what you're saying. I too have always preached, I want Blacks to realize that we are enough. We don't need, I will never understand why so many Blacks continue to seek the approval of white people. I just don't understand.
Without, yeah. Look,
I just don't get it.
With all due respect, but I'm just saying there's a certain segment. I don't think it's seeking the approval. There's a group of folks who were raised that you have to be twice as good. So it's not seeking the approval. It's justifying and legitimizing your capability, your skill sets, that kind of thing. And I think that is something that is not easily removed. It's not seeking their approval. It's just that you have to be twice as good. She is. So, and I don't fault those folks for feeling that way, for being raised that way. That's who they were. That's their parent. Mm-hmm. That's their lineage. And you have a whole generation of folks. I'm not just speaking for Mike, that were raised, you have to be twice as good.
No, and I was too. But what I'm saying is just even something, and I don't want to, just something as simple as, you don't hear Hispanics upset because they didn't get their movie nominated for an Oscar. Okay. Why are we not happy with our Image Award? Like, who said that the Oscar, to be nominated for Oscar, meant your movie was amazing? Right. So those are the types that I'm thinking, not just necessarily the job, because no, I wholeheartedly agree. And I still understand, even in 2022, there are some things that I just cannot do on my job, but simply because of my skin. I get that. I understand that. And we have a long way to go to change that. So no, I get that. I'm just saying some of it is. It's wanting, for me, is making sure that we understand, again, Black is enough and we don't need white people to validate us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, mic drop. I'll leave it right there.
Yep, I'll leave it right there too.
Okay. So moving on to the Junior Day turnout. Joe, thoughts?
It was a heck of a turnout. The meeting room where all the recruits and their parents were brought into was standing room only. There were quite a few of high caliber, multi-star players that showed up to Junior Day. And again, for those who don't know, Junior Day is when the high school junior football players are invited on campus to see your campus, to meet your coaching staff, hear what they have to say and speak about their program and learn more about your program. As many people have said many times, all we got to do is just get the players to campus to see Prairie View, see what it's about, see what it looks like, and we got them sold. So that's the purpose of Junior Day from a Prairie View perspective. And that was held during the PV relays, which is a very good combo. So standing room only, very, very talented players showed up. I heard they had a great time after they received, I guess, a kind of an overview of the program by the coaches. They did a tour of the campus. So great turnout, great to see. I think when we first started having Junior Days, you might have had, 20 or 30 players. Now you probably had well over 200 players that showed up yesterday.
Oh,
that's good.
Very nice. Very nice.
For clarification, when you say junior, for those that may not know, are you saying that they are junior or going into the junior?
They're currently juniors in high school.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice.
There's a couple of pictures on social media of people in, I think, the head coach's office and the view out on the field. And so that was a good look on Twitter. Oh, great
on Twitter, to your point, Mike, you saw a lot of folks that announced that they had their first offer, which I thought was a good look.
Exactly.
First, kids appreciate loyalty. They still believe in loyalty, which is cute. So they see that first offer means something to them. So sometimes they like to be loyal to the first person to the party when gave them that offer. So it's important to be that first offer.
Great point.
Mm-hmm. And just quickly, like, what are for some of our listeners, when you're talking about Twitter, and what are some of the people that you feel our listeners should follow to get some of this information?
From a Prairie View perspective,
sorry.
Follow Prairie View Football. Prairie View Football has a Twitter, and every single coach on the coaching staff has a Twitter. So I would advise anyone who's interested in the program to go to pvpanthers.com, look up the coaches and their Twitter handles, and follow them on Twitter. And they tweet all the time. You'll get a lot of inside information. So yep, just go to pvpanthers.com, look up the coaches, get their Twitter pages, Twitter handles, and start following the coaches, man, if you want to be tied into the program.
Very nice.
Follow us as well, because we follow them, so we'll retweet. So you'll catch on a lot of them if you can't find them directly.
Cool. So spring football is coming up. I know we have our game on April 23rd, but I understand that Jackson State marketing machine.
Prime time pays off again.
Prime time effect.
The prime time effect. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Jackson State will be the first HBCU to have their spring game televised, and it will be on ESPNU, which is a
first
great
HBCU,
recruit.
if I'm not mistaken, first FCS program.
Wow.
That's big time, because it's a recruiting tool. Kids from all over the country get to just turn on the TV and see your program without having to get on a plane or a bus and drive to see your program. It'll be at Veterans Memorial Stadium, and I'm sure that the folks at Jackson are going to probably have, I wouldn't be surprised to see anything less than 20,000 people at that spring game.
That's going to be a huge marketing component of all the fans. You know, a lot of this is about what do you do with your facilities, and we're there currently with ours, but a lot of places are trying to catch up. And to Jackson State's credit, is they've done some of that, and I'm sure that will be showcased, which, like you said, is going to be a strong indication for those eyeballs that are looking at them out there.
Yeah, you kind of had me. You kind of had me at marketing. Jackson State has proven this last year or so that they know how to market. They know how to get there. Just stop right there. Drop the mic in marketing. They will market the hell out of this event. I know you can't say that, but I just said that they will market the hell out of this event. That will now open the door further for more recruits. And it's just sickening, because I'm still looking at our program and like, Dr. Lee, what's up?
Hey,
we've got some fabulous communication department. Like, can they not partner up? I mean, just put it on YouTube for us.
So if you follow, once the people start following all those different Twitter handles, you'll notice that they've ramped up. The communications department has stepped into that gap and started marketing for Prairie View A&M sports. So you'll see it getting a lot better. And also, Alumni Affairs has announced that they will be throwing a tailgate for the spring game. So if you needed more inspiration and motivation to go to the spring game on April 23rd, there will be free food and drink for you at the spring game. So let's get it.
Nothing motivates folks like free food and free drink.
Exactly.
Especially at a spring tailgate. Good weather,
Exactly.
good music. Come on. What you waiting on?
Let's get it.
And before we move on to our spring sports, Mike, we have the PV librarian that's in the news or making some good strides.
Yeah, so this was on this came across my Twitter feed. Then I went to the PV News page. So shout out to the PV News page. So lady by the name, if you're not familiar with Kimberly Gay, so she's has more than 20 years. She's head of reference and information services at PV's John B. Coleman Library, which is a staple of the campus. She has now been elected to the executive board of Beta Phi Mu, which is International Library and Information Studies Honor Society. So in his role, though, she serves basically as the director at large. So, you know, her job basically is to distinguish achievement in and around scholarly contributions to library and information studies and library education. Now, stop right there. Now, I remember when I was in the library back some years ago, I remember kind of the Dewey Decimal System, you know, the microfiche films or whatever, but I had to go look up what library science is, and it basically applies perspectives, tools of management and information technology and education to library and research. So she's going to be doing this in whole on a grander stage. So congratulations to her on being elected to that position. So I think she's the first library staff member from an HBCU in Texas to be elected to this position in the Honor Society's 74 5-year history. So congratulations to Ms. Gay. But I mean, I know it's library science, but that's big.
I love it. I love
They
it.
done made everything technical.
Yeah. So.
All right. And we'll be back to talk some spring sports.